You may begin, Mr. Pricey.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman and members of the committee, for this opportunity to testify in opposition to House Bill 7853. Like the previous bill, the present bill seeks to single out, harass, and intimidate pro-life citizens for things that they do not do. Specifically, the definitions in this bill seem to apply to a handful of religious-based ministries operating here in Rhode Island. There are thousands of pregnancy resource centers throughout the country providing much-needed free assistance for women and families facing a pregnancy for which they feel unprepared. Whether it be assistance with clothing and diapers, baby food and formula, cribs and strollers, emergency housing, a ride to the doctor's office, a shoulder to cry on, a friend when you're feeling down, and yes, the free ultrasounds that very often have the effect of presenting to women the very information hidden from them from abortionists like Planned Parenthood. These ministries provide free services to women and families reaching out for help in facing their needs. And I might add, these ministries do not get $500 million each year from the federal government. The abortion industry works very hard to shut these centers down because every woman helped by these centers represents a loss of revenue for abortion industry giants like Planned Parenthood. To help you better understand the appalling nature of this bill by way of analogy, please consider whether you would even entertain a bill proposed by the clothing retailers seeking to crack down on Salvation Army clothing banks. Or would you support a bill proposed by the Supermarket Association that seeks to impose burdens and threat of criminal charges on food pantries? Quite simply, we regard this bill for what it is, an attack on people of faith who practice their faith by feeding the hungry, giving drink to the thirsty, clothing the naked, and sheltering the homeless. We strongly oppose this bill.
Thank you, Mr. Pricey. Are there questions from the committee for Mr. Pricey? Paula Hodges is to be replaced by Neil Corkery, the Honorable Neil Corkery, formerly a member of the House of Representatives.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. My name is Neil Corkery. I'm a board member of the National Board of Catholics for Choice. And it's interesting because earlier out in the corridor, one of the testifiers or one of the persons at the meeting was asking the minister, how could you be here talking about abortion, and he was pro-choice. And I think a lot of people don't know that there is a whole body of Catholics who do believe in choice. This organization has been around for over 40 years, made up of distinguished people after me from the academic world, religious world, philosophers, a lot of former nuns too. An interesting body of people who have put in a lot of work all over the world working with women. Women's reproductive rights. So we're pleased to sponsor this and support this legislation because I think this is a very difficult process for a woman to go through. I think it's certainly her prerogative. The one thing I've learned early in the church that affected me and certainly is part of our whole constitution in the state is the importance of conscience and making clear decisions based on conscience. A lot of people have been, I think, making them on other things, just solely on religious grounds that they think is what is the voice of a church, a particular religion. So it's also important, given the age today and the procedures that are performed, that these establishments have some kind of regulation on them so that there's not any space for someone to be harmed in that process. And also so that they're not, I heard someone else earlier on the other side saying bullying, that they're not bullied into not seeing the other side. I don't know that these organizations actually show any of the other side of the issue of a woman's abortion. So we support the bill, and we thank the committee. It's very interesting to see all of you staying here so late. So I thank you on behalf of Catholics for Choice.
Thank you,
I have
Mr.
testimony
Corcoran.
if I can leave.
Are there questions for Representative Costa? A question?
Mr. Corcoran.
Neil Corcoran.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Representative Costa has a question for you.
Hi, sir. Thank you. Sorry, I had to make you sit down again.
Friend from North Kingstown.
Yes, sir. Just a quick question. How many are in the organization Catholics for Choice? Because I've never heard of that organization.
Yeah, we were here last year and the year before, and we did come around to meet a lot of the reps. There are thousands of members across the world. Most of the work is done in developing countries, in South America, particularly in Africa, because women in those countries, particularly in Africa, have, while they get funding from church groups, they can't be used for reproductive health. We, on one hand, say that people shouldn't have an abortion, but they can't use prophylactics. We don't give them up. So it's really based on one's conscience that it's a woman's prerogative. I mean, it's, you know, we see a lot of men talking about this. It's a woman's prerogative to make that choice, just as on some of those other bills about having to notify a husband.
Do you have any idea approximately how many members are in the state?
I don't have the exact numbers, and I wish I did. I can get them for you.
I'd love to see the numbers if
Okay,
possible.
it's been around over 40 years.
Okay. Thank you for your testimony, sir.
Thank you. Neil.